turn on the stream. So this is ASL Season 11 Round of 8 quarterfinal day 4, and it is going to be Rush versus Larva, Larva versus Rush, and I'm excited to cast this today's Zerg versus Terra matchup. And since a lot of Zerg players have survived in the quarterfinal, we already have gotten that Meanie is already in the semifinal. Queen also made it into semifinal. And 2 days ago, that was a Hero versus Snow. Hero showed an excellent game and showed how strong he was. Macro game, micro game, both of them. And here's what we're gonna be seeing: ASL Season11 Round of 8 bracket. 2 days ago, Hero beat Snow 3-1. And he's already in the semi-final and waiting for the match 4 to be finished. So we'll be either gonna be seeing Zerg versus Zerg or Zerg versus Terran. I would like to see Rush beating Larva so we can have a balanced race in this ASL Season 11. And today it is going to be Larva versus Rush. I'm excited. But thing is, we have to remember, Larva made it into quarterfinal. That he won the first place in a group in round of 16. That means he has all the map choice for the first and the third one. And Rush made it into quarterfinal as a second place in a round of 16. So he has the map choice for second and then the fourth. Looks like we're gonna be moving into the opening show.
라바, 임홍규, 저그.
최종적으로 3승을 연거푸 따내면서 컴팩트 승리. 와일드카드전에서 유영진 선수의 역량을 좀 발휘하면서요, 엄청난 성장을 좀 보였거든요. 와, 세기 박아요 유영진. 안정적인 대처. 그동안의 노력에 또 다시 한번 빛을 발하면서 8강지 진원한 유영진.
러쉬, 유영진, 테란. ASL 시즌 11 8강.
Welcome back.
LG 울트라 기어가 함께하는 ASL 시즌 11 8강
We're back to ASL Season 11.
안녕하세요, 이영경입니다. 지난 일요일까지
quarterfinal round of 8 day 4. This is going to be the last of the quarterfinal match.
선수가 4강에 올라와 있는 상황입니다.
Previously we have watched Hero versus Snow. It wasn't an excellent game by both of the players. And we are going to be meeting up Larva and Rush.
자, 먼저 이몽규 선수 연속 3시즌 8강에 올라오고
Larva, you made it into quarterfinal 3 times in a row. And you also have a lot of relations with Rush. And how do you feel when I drew the quarterfinal bracket that you are going to be played against Rush?
준비한 대로 평소 준비한 대로 준비하면은 충분히 이길 수 있을 거라고 생각을 하고 그냥 열심히 준비했습니다.
Larva said he prepared well, that he thinks he will win if he just plays as when he's playing at home. So he did practice a lot, and as long as he's keeping up all those pace, then he will play well.
많이 흐트러졌었거든요 최근에. 근데
Larva is saying that recently his Zerg versus Terra matchup was somewhat rusty, but during the practice days that he has been preparing it, he said he started to play okay-ish and started to understand how he should be playing and how he should be approaching in Zerg vs Terra matchup. So he's feeling great.
그거는
And Caster asked Rush,
만났으면 좋다고 한 거는 그냥 살짝 허세였고, 그래도 좀 저그전 준비하다 보니까 좀 힘든 점이
and
있어가지고
she was asking how do you feel about this quarterfinal match.
지금 이제 자신감이 찬 상태거든요. 그래서 그래서
And
오늘
when
잘할
she
수
drew
있을 것 같아요.
the bracket,
유영진 선수 지난 시즌 8강은 좀
And Rush
잊어버리고
said that,
싶은 좀 굉장히 힘든
he says he's not confident
기억이었잖아요.
enough to play
이번
against
시즌
Larva.
8강에 올라오셨지만 역시나 마지막 테란으로서 좀 자리를
But he thinks he doesn't really matter
차지하게
whoever comes
되셨습니다.
up.
정말 테란을 응원하시는 많은 팬분들은 유영진 선수 경기만
He just wanted to play
굉장히
against Zerg
지켜보고
anyway.
있을 것
So
같은데
네.
I think
마음의 부담도
that's
좀
all he
있으신가요?
wanted to
이
say.
상황이 좀 아이러니하긴 한데 일단 두 시즌 연속 최후의 테라는 맞긴 하니까 좀 부담감이 있기는 하고요. 4강에
So Rush said that he's the only Terran player surviving in
the
the ASL tournament
2
2 times in a row previously and this season because Flash was playing random last season.
세트 스코어 그 상처를
So he
극복해내기
kind
위해서
of
정말
felt
많은 연습을
so much of a
해오셨을 것
pressure
같다라는 생각이
for all those
들거든요.
Terran fans
연습 과정은 어떠셨나요?
because there's no Flash, there's no Flash playing it, no Light is playing it. So he's pretty much carrying all those Terrans fans to play in this ASL tournament. So Rush is having all those
두
pressure.
선수 모두 뭐 온라인 전적만 보더라도 이 경기 양 자체도 굉장히 많은 선수들 중 또 한 분이시더라고요. 이몽규 선수 그동안의 8강 경기는 3대0, 3대0, 3대1 좀 다소 원사이드한
So
스코어들이
the caster
나왔거든요. 오늘 이몽규 선수의 8강 경기는
is
어떨 거라고 생각하세요?
asking about that. She was talking about the Larva versus Rush online status information that they have played so many games. Larva Larva lost to Rush quite often, 3-0, 3-0 or 3-1, something like that.
했다라고 좀
But
자신
then,
있게 말씀을 해주셨는데
how well
유영진
did you
선수는
prepare?
어떠신가요?
저도
I forgot what Larva said.
지금까지
That things were
연습하면서
going too fast.
가장 많이 연습 승률이
I think
좋았던
both
것
of them,
같아요. 거의 좀잘 안
She was
나와서
asking about both of their preparation.
저도 오늘 한 3대0 아니면 3대1로 이길 것 같습니다.
두 선수 모두 경기에 굉장한 자신감을
Rush
가지고
said
계신 것
that
같은데요. 자 마지막 질문을
he prepared
드리겠습니다.
well that
각오를
he
한
thinks he
말씀씩
will make it
들려주시죠. 이몽규
into
선수 어떠신가요?
semi-final either 3-0 or
저는
3-1.
여태까지 통틀어가지고 제가 지금 현존하고 있는
Any last word,
아프리카
Larva?
뭐
And Larva is saying
게이머들
about
중에서 제일 게임을 많이 했다라고 생각을 했는데 유영진 선수가 요새 저보다 좀 많이 하더라고요. 그래서 그게 좀 뒤지지 않게 저도 더 열심히 준비하고 보완해서 나왔으니까
so Larva is talking about the
기대해 주셔도
passion
좋을 것 같습니다.
about
선수
streaming and
말씀해 주시죠.
StarCraft, both of them. Larva said that he can't really underestimate Rush because he's also a very hardcore gamer and also streaming almost every day, like 8 hours, 10 hours long.
인터뷰 고맙습니다.
And he'll try his best to make it into semi-final.
LG 울트라기어와
Rush
하식스가
also
함께하는
said the
ASL
same
시즌
thing.
11 8강
He will try his
마지막
best
경기를
and make it
앞두고
into
있습니다.
semi-final as well.
이몽규 선수와 유영진 선수 중 과연 조일장 선수의 상대는 어떤 선수가 될지 8강 마지막 경기 지금부터 함께하시죠.
So we're gonna be excited to cast this day 4 matchup, Larva versus Rush. Whether it's going to be Zerg versus Zerg matchup for the semi-final or Zerg versus Terran, Hero versus Rush. So the maps that we're gonna be seeing is Ultimate Stream by Larva's pick, Eclipse by Rush's pick, Ascension for Larva, Fighting Spirit by Rush, and the last map it has Drew by the ASL staff, and I think that's why they chose Polar's Rhapsody. So it is somewhat interesting map. That Ultimate Stream is easy to take the 4th expansion, because when Larva is going for the 3rd base at another spawning location of the natural, that means she can easily take the 4th expansion at the main base of another spawning location. So that is very understandable for Larva, and if Larva starts all those lead in the beginning and taking the first game against Rush, it might be starting to fall for Larva's favor of this Zerg vs Terran matchup, even though it's a little bit of a disadvantage side for Larva that he has lost so many games to Rush on online performance. But we would like to see how well he will be played in this ASL Season 11. So these are the key points of ASL Season 11. That Larva made it into ASL quarterfinal 5 times already. And he played a long series, and his record is not that great. 2 wins and 6 losses. It's a small data, but he's still trying his best. We are seeing that Larva did not play in Season 6. Interesting. So we're seeing all those recent 5 seasons past the season, their career. Larva didn't play in season 6, season 7, round of 16, and then quarterfinal in season 9 and semifinal in season 10. And we just saw Rush has been always getting stuck at round of 24 since like season 6, 7, 8. But then he started to become so strong that he started to make it into quarterfinal 2 times in a row. They have played. Oh no, never mind. It's not they have played. In 2021, Larva played 1,339 spawn matches on online game. 1,443 of Rush's online total game. So that is definitely a massive game amount of spawn matches they have played. So it looks like we're moving into players information now, and I have to mute the sound. So we are seeing Larva status information. Larva versus Terran, 7 wins and 10 losses, 41% win rate. It's not too bad because when we look at the other matchups of his win rate, he has decent amount of win rate overall. 44 wins and 46 losses, 49% of win rate overall. So that is pretty decent for Larva, because we know that if you're a competitive player and making your stats almost above 50%, that is always going to be hard. And we're also going to be seeing Rush's statistic information. He has 9 wins and 12 losses, 43% win rate, and he's. A lot of people think Rush has a nice Terran versus Zerg play style. Like, he's so aggressive. Like, compared to how Light plays and how Rush's play, they're completely two different play style. That how they approach into the middle and late game. But even though it shows that Rush has 43% of a win rate, I think it has to do with the previous seasons that when he was not that great, but now he's super strong. And then we're gonna be moving into the first set, and both of the players might be ready or going to be ready, and here we are. We're gonna be moving into game number 1. Alright, spawning in the top right, the magenta Zerg is Larva, and the other side spawning at the bottom right, the orange Terran. This is Rush, and this is going to be a vertical matchup, and Larva is sending his overlord all the way down, because if you're a Zerg player, you always have to send your overlord towards to another spawning location of the natural. So that is what Larva is doing. He's not going to send his overlords to counterclockwise, so he is doing the standard scout so far. And we also need to see how Rush is going to be react, whether he's going to go for 1 base or 2 base. And since natural is so wide open, 이거 왜 끊겼을까? My God. Alright, Sorry about losing the connection. I don't know what's really wrong about my internet. I try to fix, but it doesn't really fix even though I call SK Telecom. I use SKT. I called SK Telecom to fix my internet to their technicians, but they didn't really fucking fix it, so can't really do anything about it. But we're gonna be seeing Command Center first by Rush. So yeah, I don't know where I left them or where I got lost my connection, but so where I was talking about was the natural expansion is so wide open that in normal map you can just put down like a supply depot and a bunker and you can easily defend, but in this type of map like Ultimate Stream, it is definitely hard. It is definitely hard to take natural if you don't wall off. So it is very clear that Rush is understanding the map, that he's walling off the natural with 2 supply depot with a single barracks and have the entrance narrowed down. And we are going to see that Larva has gone for the 12 hatchery into very classic standard, but he's not going to be doing. He's not going to do 2 hatch Mira. He's going to be doing 3 hatchery opening. And we're gonna be seeing that is a really late spawning pool, so I'm gonna be assuming this is 3 hatchery into spawning pool by Larva, because that spawning pool should be finished very long time ago. Now the spawning pool is now done, so that means he's now getting that lair tech soon, and as soon as he gets 100 gas, and yes, there is going to be the lair starting. And at the same time, we just saw Rush was making the eBay, and as soon as Rush starts to get that eBay with the 100 gas, he might be taking out one of the SCV from the refinery. So people might be thinking, oh, why are you taking out your SCV from the refinery? Because it is always important to balance out the mineral and the advanced beam geyser equally, so you can spend those wisely. So we are seeing Rush's controlling of his main base gas, mining the gas with the 2 SCV, and Rush is also trying to confirm where the 3rd hatchery is, because he was checking Larva's main base that his spawning pool was late, his extractor was late, everything was completely late, so he has to suspect that there's gonna be a 3rd hatchery at somewhere. So finally Larva got a couple of Zerglings chasing the SCV, and he's also sending out one of the SCV to the bottom left side, so I think he's also suspecting about the proxy factory. Because sometimes in this kind of a small, Ultimate Stream, this map is so easy to defend any kinds of ground unit timing attack with those like a Marine or Vulture or whatsoever. So that's why it is very clear for Larva. He's understanding the map, and he's not going to be making too many Zerglings, and he will be adding, okay, there's a Spire all the way 50% done by now. He's also mining the 2nd gas, but not the 3rd gas though. He's trying to balance out the mineral and the Vespin gas as much as he can. Couple of the Zerglings, the metabolic boost is now done, and the Marine is a little bit of out of position, and the medic just came on time. Okay, that is perfect timing, and at the same time Larva will be confirming that Rush has gone for M&M instead of factory opening. So he knows this is not going to be 14cc into Mac opening. He knows this is a pure bio by Rush, and Rush is preparing +1 attack into 5 racks because it's against 3 hatchery, and we are seeing Larva is already adding another hatchery at the main base, and I see that another rectangle shape at the Larva's base. I'm not sure whether that was a Hydroden or the evolution chamber, but I like this. Okay, that is a Hydroden. So I guess Rush confirmed that Larva has gone for the Spire into Hydroden, but he built that Hydroden way before that Spire finishes. So Rush definitely knows this is not going to be heavy Mutalisk play by by Larva. So it is very clear that Rush is also understanding how Larva wants to play. He's reading off the mine really well and adding a factory ASAP. So I like this idea of how Rush is getting all those factory really fast, because you know that this is the natural expansion is always going to be the high ground and easy to defend. So a couple of Mutalisks with the 6 Muta. Larva is not making much of a Mutalisk. We can see, oh, losing one Muta is not great, and one of the Mutalisks already on a low HP. So Larva really needs to be careful. His lair tech, and he's also preparing for the lurker switch ASAP, but his lurker upgrade is not complete. We can see a couple of Kree colony. Okay, he's adding 3 more at the natural, and Rush knows that Larva does not have much of a mirrorless out on the map, so he definitely knows this is going to be super fast lurker switch. So I like how Rush is moving out right now in the middle of the map here, but he did definitely force Larva to build a lot of Sunkens each expansion, but he's not really earning anything nor doing up to big pressure. So Larva right now has only 4 mirrorless. Okay, now getting 5 mirrors. He just got another mirrors ready on the way, and the lurker egg is about it should be finishing soon, but that is a nice timing attack by Rush. That's about like 2 groups of a marine medic, and the lurker will get borrowed. 2 Sunkers are pretty much soaking up the damage, and a couple of Zerglies are doing the sandwich, flanking from the both sides. Sunkers were taking the damage, and lurker. The lurker did a great amount of damage as well, and finally Larva feels secure with the expansion, so now he's adding Queen's Nest. So with the little amount of mirrorless that he has made, he did buy a lot of time, and with this 3 mirrorless, so buying some time, picking up a couple of marine here and there, that is excellent. Losing another mirrorless isn't that great, but we are going to see the starport with the control tower is already done, and it's already blinking before that science facility is finished. So we can expect that Rush is going for 2 dropship. He's gonna go for double dropship first before the science vessel. I like the idea because Rush knows that Larva doesn't have much of a mirrorless out on the map. We can also see one of the SCVs rotated to the bottom side and all the way to 6 o'clock. I think Rush really wants to... Oh, okay. At the same time, Larva is trying to move around with this mirrorless and see what Rush has. Oh, there's the dropship. I don't know if Larva has seen that dropship on the right side. He did get the vision, but it might be very hard to catch. But Rush is also trying his best to sneak out that dropship out on the map. And here we go, he got the dropship out on the map. And Larva also got 4 Scourges, so he knows the dropship timing. And got the middle and saw the dropship. Yeah, I think the minimap with the Larva screen, he probably got to see the dropship. And he's also chasing down the dropship with the 4 Scourge and mirrorless. And oh my god, did you see that? Rush was focusing on those Scourges instead of mirrorless. So he did save all those dropship and pick up some of the mirrors here and there. That's good. One of the dropship is still remaining alive. So it's gonna be, he's going to look for a great spot, the weak spot to attack or go for the drop. But all the overlords out on the, already out on the map that have all those map vision control. Excellent. And Larva made another 2 Scourge because he couldn't get that dropship on time. So both of the players are trying to approach into super late game over here. We can see Rush is already expanding towards to the 6 o'clock, so this is going to be a super late game. And Larva is also securing each expansion with massive amount of Zerglings standing. And finally 2 vessels out on the map, but gotta be careful because Larva is watching where the science vessel goes, and there's going to be the 4 Scourge will connect. One of the vessels will go down, so this is not going to be happy for Rush because that losing a single vessel right there is losing 1 irradiate. So 1 science vessel. Okay, finally he got 2 more science vessels, so total 3. So that is not so enough to do some irradiate yet, but he's trying to find some place. And we are also seeing Rush is trying to go for classic of a late game TVZ style. He's taking the 6 o'clock expansion saturated, using irradiated on the one of the lurker. That's nice. Another one, and Rush might, okay, yeah, Rush does have another energy. another energy for the Irati, but he won't be using it. He has to prioritize on something else. So we can see he's just moving around and splitting some of the Marine here and there, get the vision, and also adding more barracks here. Two eBay, both of them are upgrading on the way. And we are seeing Rush has a couple of army at the 7 o'clock side, so I think he's trying to go for expansion. But we can see Larva finally got the Defiler with the Armor 1 upgrade already finished. So that, I'm not sure why he moved out. Maybe he got the Plague ready? Is that a Plague? Okay, never mind, it wasn't Plague. So Plague upgrade is not done yet. And Larva is already secured at 11 o'clock, the 11 o'clock main base. So this is the very strong part of the Zerg in mid and late game, because it's super easy to take the fourth gas as soon as you take the natural expansion. We can see finally Rush is adding more command center at the 7 o'clock. Couple of Marines will be also helping to defend there. And Rush has quite a lot of army here with the 3 dropship. That's 24 plus 3, so that's about 30 supply of Rush's army. If these dropship doesn't go well, Russia's just gonna be losing all those army, like 30 supply instantly disappeared. So Larva is also paying attention that he does not want to get dropped. So he's having the Scourge out on the map and constantly sharking around and try to get those dropship. Still, 2 lurkers are alive. Vessel was about to find a spot to use somebody ready, but it won't work. But we can see Larva is finally moving out with a couple of Ultralists with the Zergling and 1 Defiler. So I think this small amount of army, Larva is planning to, maybe he's planning to, I think he's planning to connect all those Darkstorm all the way to Rush's natural. That 4 Scourges are also threatening that vessels, and finally got one of the vessel. Did use the Irati, but doesn't matter. Defiler is still alive, and will he be able to use another Darkstorm? So this is not a good situation for Rush. Rush has quite a lot of army, but Larva also has a lot of army. If Larva starts to bring all of his units and start moving towards the Rush's natural, with that Darkstorm still being there at the natural, he will be suffering so much. But we can see the upgrade is not still great for Larva yet. We can see armor 3, the Ultralisk speed is still not done yet. Rush has a 2-1 upgrade. And nice Plague on the Firebanner with the Marine there. But at the same time, 3 dropships are going inside. But the Scourges just came out on time. One of the dropships did not go down. So dropping all those Marine Magic Ball between of the Extractor spawning point and Hydra then. But I don't see. Okay, there are 2 medics, but there's gonna be Drone Drill with the Zerglings who will be easily defending. Adrenaline upgrade is also done, so this is going to be easy for Larva to defend. So Rush just wasted about 20 to 30 supply of army at Larva's main base, and finally Larva is moving out. If Larva is moving out, that means Larva has armor 4 of the Ultralisk. I want to see Larva's upgrade. Okay, never mind. He does not have the armor 4 yet, because I guess he didn't get the Evolution Chamber on time. So this isn't a good trade for Larva, because he's still behind in an upgrade. He still needs to focus on the upgrade and have a matched upgrade to Rush's M&M upgrade. Larva really needs to keep up this pace, because Rush is going for super late game here and adding more of a barracks and a bunker at the 7 o'clock side, and another dropship. That is a nice dropship. Unloaded about 7 Marine with a single medic, but will get cleared by the Zergling and a Scourge. You can see other Ultralists are moving down to the 7 o'clock side, but Rush still has a lot of Science Vessel, constantly using Irati here and there and buying some time really well. Okay, Rush did miss that 3 Ultralists in the middle of the map, so this was a little bit of a mistake by Rush. That 3 Ultralists will go for the 6 o'clock expansion, but there are many bunkers. Okay, we see a lot of Science Vessel. That is scary. Oh my god, we just saw that the Observer clicked the M&M upgrade. That Rush has attack 3 upgrade already, so Larva is still up behind him with the upgrade, but irradiating on the Ultralisk, and also that is helping. for Larva to clear up all those Russia's army. Russia has a 162 hour supply. 2 dropships are going again to Larva's main base, but this time Larva does not have any Zergling at the main base. So if those 2 dropships do land at Larva's main base, that is gonna hurt him a lot. And we can see he did immediately spawn and takes down the dropship on time. Only a couple of Marines were unloaded, so that is excellent snipe by Larva. But still, a couple of Ultralists are still alive at the 6 o'clock side. If Larva starts to bring that Defiler, that is going to be hurting that 7 o'clock expansion or 6 o'clock expansion at the same time. So that is still a lot of a science vessel, but Rush cannot use. He can't really use the irradiate because the map is so big that if Larva just used the Nidus Tunnel and moved those units from left to right or right to left and constantly sending and rotating all of his army here and there, and another nice connect and taking down 3 vessels here. Still 8 vessels are still alive. Rush is gonna be using that irradiate on the Ultralisk and the Defiler, but at the same time Larva definitely have a lot of minerals, but he's not really getting much of a Zerglings out on the map. You can see he has a 160 supply count. Nice Darkstorm. At the same time, a couple of Ultralists with the Zerglings did go to Rush's natural. So this is looking great for Rush, because we can see at the minimap that Rush lifted his 3rd command center at the 6 o'clock, and Rush started to fall behind with the supply count, and Rush taps up because he couldn't really keep up the game anymore. Excellent play by Larva. That was an insane macro game, and secure all those dropship, defending all those dropship to his main base really well. That was very impressive, and he's very top of the point. He played excellent this game. We can see Rush's cam. He's trying to be calm because he has to win the second game, or it is going to be 2-0. It's not going to be looking happy if he starts to lose behind, falling behind with a score 2-0. So Rush definitely needs to win the second game because he chose Eclipse for the second map, and that is his map choice, so he really needs to win. And Larva was playing really well, excellent there. And I think we're gonna be moving into commercial break. And I hope it's not a bait. Okay, yeah, we're gonna be going to commercial break, and stay tuned, we'll be back soon.
Okay.
더욱더 응원해 주시면은 4강 한번 진짜 스스로 찍어서 스스로 시드가 돼 보겠습니다.
Welcome back, guys, to ASL. We just saw Larva take down Rush. Oh, we got the interview, of course, or the tumbler, I mean.
첫 번째 세트는 이몽규 선수가 승리를 거뒀는데요. 두 번째 세트 만나보시기에 앞서서 온라인으로 시청하고 계실 시청자 여러분들에게 준비된 이벤트
watching the
안내드리겠습니다.
game number one of Larva vs Rush. Before that, before we go into game number two, we're gonna be seeing ASL Season11 event. If you wanna get the ASL tumbler, you gotta leave the comments on ASL mainstream that who is going to make it into semi-final. If you get that guess right, if your prediction gets right, then you get the ASL tumbler. And if you also show them that you're also watching ASL and join their event, you also get the ASL umbrella.
승부를 원점으로 돌릴 수 있을지 이어지는 두 번째 세트 계속해서 만나보시죠.
And we're gonna be moving into game number two. Rush really needs to keep up and make sure his mind is all cleared. Forget about the game number one so he can start making some comeback in game number two because he chose the map Eclipse and it's his favorite map that he's really good at using Science Festival and always constantly denying that fourth expansion as much as he can. And we would like to see how Larva also gonna counter or how well he is going to fight back against how Rush plays because he's very aggressive.
Yeah, Rush is one of those players that I've said, lately that his aggroness is ridiculous on maps like Hidden Track. Of course, we're not seeing it here, but he can pick you apart if you're ever out of position, even for just a moment. Sniping things like Nidus, he can bust you in an instant. So let's see if he can tie.
Did I lose connection? Oh shit, no! Oh my god. Hello?
Hello?
This is so retarded, like just shutting down.
Well, in the top right, we have our Zerg player. It is Larva. And in the bottom left, our Terran player, it is Rush. So we've seen a variety of builds on Eclipse. We saw 8 racks from JYJ. We've seen a whole bunch of builds. Do you think we're ever going to see the Valkyrie build? Oh, we saw Rush pull it out on Fighting Spirit. That was, of course, because he got the worst spawn imaginable. But bottom left, Eclipse, what do you think about that as the opener?
Bottom left as a Terran, so I think it is okay because it's somewhat easier to put down those missile turrets to defend against the mirrorless harassment compared to 1 o'clock natural. 1 o'clock natural is somewhat difficult because the mineral lines is kind of like a horizontally set up, so it is also kind of hard to defend the mirrorless harassment at that kind of situation. So it's somewhat also good thing that Rush spawned at the 7 o'clock instead of 1 o'clock side, because whenever you're doing the mirrorless harassment, and whenever the mirrorless is shooting from the bottom left side to top side, they do more of a splash damage and they pick up the marine much more than other angle.
Well, I did not know that, so maybe that's one of the reasons. You're back?
Yeah, can you turn on the stream for me?
Yeah, I'll just turn it on. Alright guys, we are back. We should not have any more disconnects now. I've got the stream going. And we do have just a standard opener from both players. Rush is going to go for a greedy command center, of course, because he sees that there are no early lings. Drone did not do a lot of harassment there. And we are just waiting to see how Larva is going to get into his 2-hatch. He puts it down at 255, as you've talked about before, so pretty darn fast.
Can you check if stream is on? Because I'm checking it's not on yet. So okay, I'll let Nyoken to take care of the stream for now. Let me see what is going on. So we can see Rush is going for natural wall with the 2 depot with the single racks. That is very standard opening by Rush, and we can also see Rush once again going for +1 attack super fast just like a previous game. But the thing is, Larva did not go for 3 hatchery this time. Larva has gone for +1 attack. Larva has gone for the 3 hatchery previous game, so that was understandable for Rush that he has gone for the +1 into 5 racks. But this time it's against 2 hatchery, but still Rush is going for +1 attack here. Okay, are you there, Nyoken?
Yeah, I am here. I'm trying to get the stream up and running. Okay, there it is. Now we are live.
Okay, the stream is on. Stream is back on live. We can see the academy is almost being complete. We can see Rush was cutting quite a lot of marine and spending all those resources of the eBay and an academy super fast.
Yeah, so we've got 3rd hatch going up for Larva at top middle relatively quickly. Meanwhile, on Rush's side of the map, he rushed that eBay. He's also got the academy, so he's powering really darn hard despite seeing a 2-hatch opener. 2nd rack's just now starting, really. That means he's not going to be able to deny top middle for a long time, but he's going to have a powerful army going into the mid game.
Yes,
That's fire.
And I'm also looking at carefully whether Larva is planning to go for another spawn, another hatchery or not. But it looks like Larva is just going to be playing very classic 2 hatchery into 3 hatchery at the 3rd base at the 12 o'clock side and go for middles here.
Yeah, so we have the SCV or the Lings just hanging around waiting for that army to come out. Not going to move out just yet. Still has not reached critical mass. Now he's going up to 4 barracks. We may even see something crazy like a 5 racks follow-up. We'll see if that is what Rush wants to go for so far. I don't see it just yet.
We can see Rush is getting all those medic count to 3. I wonder if he's going to get 4 medic or okay, maybe only 3 and start making all those marine for now. And we can see Rush is taking out all those SCV from the refinery. And finally building a couple of missile turret here and there because the middles will be coming out soon and arriving at Rush's main base. But there are some of things that we have to watch. Remember, I don't know which game it was, but one of the Zerg player went for... Oh, it was Queen versus JYJ, I just remember. So, Queen, he gave up that 3rd expansion and went for JYJ's main base in that round of 8, I believe. Yes, it was round of 8. So I wonder if Larva is planning to do that same move in this situation when Rush starts to move out here.
We'll see if that's going to be the move from Larva. He's hanging around with those 7 Mutalisks. 1-shot SCVs, that's the magic number. Meanwhile, Rush starting to get up to critical mass. He's starting to move out a little bit right now, but it's going to be careful. He's going to not lose that turret. I thought Larva might snipe it down. Not enough Lings to engage this army just yet with the Mutaling combination, so he's going to pull back for now. Meanwhile, back on Larva's side of the map, I don't think I saw a Hydralisk den put down anywhere, so for now...
Yeah, that losing another Mutalist, that was not great for Larva, but we can see Larva is making a couple more of extra Zergling here. So he's going to be squeezing all of the resource and making more of a Mutalist and Zerglings to eat that M&M ball in the middle of the map. So that is what Larva is planning to do before he goes for the lurker switch. So this is going to be a very intense microfight for the both players.
Yeah, mutas are trying to find the right angle. That is a really big Marine medic ball. I'm surprised that Larva's even going to try and fight this. He picks off a single medic. Now he gets a couple Marines right there. But Rush, he's doing a really good job to control these Marines and deal with the Lynx and mutas. Actually, Larva's dealt more damage to this Marine ball than I was expecting. Now he's approaching 12 mutalisks. But look at that starport. It's already started.
Yeah, that's that +1 attack of a Marine medic is quite working really well here. That buying some time and not letting Larva to make drones here. We just saw that the observer showed that Larva has the Hydroden at the 12 o'clock supply, but he still did not win the fight in the middle of the map. The M&M ball is still alive in the middle of the map. So whenever middles are out of position, Rush can always go for the backstab. But I think Rush knows that Larva is kind of like a semi all-in in this kind of situation. So Rush knows he just has to defend and start making the science vessel and making.
Well, we've seen multiple games with the backstab with the Marines or with the lurk or with the mutalisks, and it never went well for the Terran player. They ended up winning the game with those simple attacks. So you can see that Rush does not want that to happen. So he turns around, lost a ton of mutalisks near the end of the fight, down to 6. Double starport coming in. Science facility just now started, so his first couple of vessels are going to pop out. We did see the Hydroden at top middle, so this is not a completely all-in Ling muta play. He is going to transition, but his hive, I think, is pretty darn late.
Yeah, he doesn't have any drone at the third expansion, so that is going to take some time for Larva to go for a late game switch because he doesn't have much of a drone for the macro game here. But we can see Larva has all those units standing in the middle of the map, so I think Larva wants to play aggressive. Like how, you know how Soma plays? He makes not much of a drone, but play really super aggressive and having all those lurkers standing in the front of a Rush Terran's natural. I think that's what Larva is planning to do, but it's not really working well yet.
Yeah, here comes the big move out from Rush. He's got a really big, scary army now. And Larva's still going to continuously pick off a bunch of straggler Marines in the back, but this is about a group and a half of Marine medic. As long as it stays together, he should be able to push all the way to the natural. I don't know if he'll be able to bust through because lurkers are coming up, but, well, maybe the mutas and the lings really can deal with it. He's got another sizable muta count. It's at about 11, and Rush is struggling to just get through the center of the map.
Yeah, this is the downside of making extra Zerglings when you're stuck at 3 hatchery. Like, you do have 3 hatchery, but that third hatchery is not a macro hatchery. Your third hatchery has to be saturating that expansion and slowly pumping out all those drone and go for the late game sweep. But with that amount of Zerglings that he has made in the middle of the game before the science vessel comes out, it's still Larva is still doing well with the mutalisks and buying some time, but it's still not looking great to switch for the late game yet.
We do have the first couple vessels out, and that means that these mutas are playing with fire if they ever come in sight. Scourger coming in. Oh my gosh, how does he get that vessel? Takes it down, and now it's going to be just one vessel moving across the map. We've got 6 lurkers morphing in for, well, actually that's 10 lurkers because there's 4 at top middle now. And there's no way that Rush can bust anywhere.
Yeah, losing that at 1 science vessel in the beginning, it does delay this M&M, and he can't really decide to break that because there's so many lurkers at the natural with the sunken colony soaking. He will be soaking up so much of a damage whenever M&M comes in. And I wonder how many lurkers at the 12 o'clock. So the shadow, it seems like, okay, there is quite a lot of lurkers still. Okay, that is good for Larva. He won't be dying yet.
Yeah, 4 lurkers. That means there's no chance of Rush getting up there. We saw JYJ go for D-Matrix versus 0. And, well, let's just say that didn't end well, going up a ramp and 3 lurkers. Meanwhile, Rush, because he has such good control over the center of the map, he's going to put down that 3rd command center. He's going to start macroing up quite well.
Yeah, Larva is trying to get the science vessel. He is really microing that Scourge and try to get the vessels as much as he can. That's That's really nice of how he's focusing on, because Rush, the strongest part of the Rush's late game is he constantly have that. Yes, that is a lot of entry. So Rush is really good at using Science Vessel and making sure that all those Science Vessels staying alive and using Irradiate all the time. And a lot of Zerg players can't really fight back against the Rush's Science Vessel because he's so good at using the Irradiate and always get away from those Plague. And Scourge tried to get one of the Science Vessels and did not work well.
Well, look at this Marine Ball for Rush. It's maybe, what, like 4 or 5 groups now? And even though there's a million lurkers, remember Rush has +1 armor. And if he can get a couple radiates down onto maybe 2 or 3 of these lurkers, is he really going to go for it?
Yeah, that's that lurker, and with the single oval covering the lurker, that is somewhat annoying for Terran's perspective, and we are seeing Rush is playing somewhat different playstyle than before. He used to go for all those mass vessels, but this time he's going to go for factory and maybe adding siege tank. Okay.
Yeah, this is the first time we're really going to see any Terran player go for tanks versus the Zerg.
Ooh.
We know that players like Hero have been playing something like Hydra Lurker Defiler, and that might be the reason he might be fearful that with this amount of lurkers and the Hydras, I guess he scanned the Hydras, and he's going to make sure that he has the right comp to deal with it, because really Bio can't beat Hydra Lurker. The Plague is just ridiculous, so I like that he's going into tanks, and I like that it's before the Zerg has critical upgrades like +3 armor or +2 armor going up against +0 tanks. So this is going to be a nice tech switch for Rush.
I just saw the upgrade that Larva got, the spine upgrade. So he got the Hydraless +1 attack already, but 0 armor, so it might not gonna be looking great in this early fight, because that +2 attack of a Marine is just gonna be demolishing. They are going to demolish all those Hydraless easily. So Larva really needs to be careful using those Hydraless.
Oh, here comes that Hydra Defiler army. He's got enough energy for Plague, ends up using the Dark Swarm. He's not able to get into range, but he is going to slowly push Rush back. You can see supplies still heavily in favor of Rush. Larva still no 4th base, so it is starting to get a little bit worrisome for him, especially since this is 3 factory tanks.
I'm also impressed that 0 armor of a Hydraless were just beating that M&M so easily, even though those M&M did not get any plagued. So that, okay, you can see Rush is trying to use the Silence Vessel using... He couldn't use the Irradiate, and that is a lot of Hydraless with the Lurker moving down in the middle of the map.
Yep, he does have an army here to intercept it, so he's going to deal with the army on both sides. Hydras purely at the top are going to be stopped by Marines. Lurkers and Hydras are going to push through the center, but Rush had a couple tanks. However, he's going to need more than just 2 in siege mode. He needs to siege up the rest, because this is a really big Hydra Lurker army coming right at him. Now he sieges the rest of them.
I think this is going to be a big threat for Rush, because if all those we can see the more of a reinforcement that Larva is right now sending. If he got some of Defilers behind, he will be connecting all those Darkstorm all the way to Rush's natural. Maybe he can also take down those factory as well. So Rush really needs to be careful and try to defend this center of the line. And okay, there's the one Dark Swarm.
Well, because he's gone for so many tanks, he doesn't have that many vessels. Yes, he has like 3 or 4 right there, but you can see a single Lurker buying him a lot of time. Splash damage ended up killing it, I think. Rush sacked a Marine there. Here comes another attack through the top side. Another Dark Swarm should go down pretty soon. He's got to put it down, though.
Yeah, those 3 tanks will have to evacuate. Okay, it will get picked up by their Hydraless, and we can see Hydraless upgrade is 2-1 +2 attack Hydraless. So the Lurkers will do great amount of damage to those Marine Medic. And now this factory line is somewhat vulnerable at the moment.
Oh, this is so painful. As a Terran player, you see just 2 Dark Swarms, and that seems to be more than enough to push the Terran player all the way back. There's I don't think there's any more lurkers under that initial Dark Swarm at the front, but Hydra's going to get under there and pop some of these tanks. There's goes 2 of them. Lurkers need to move into position, though, but maybe there's just a little bit too much Terran right now to move in. There's no more Dark Swarm. There's no more Defilers anywhere.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, it looks like there's a drop at the 3rd base at mid-left.
Mid-left? Oh, no, oh, I thought that was a drop, but never mind. That was a middle harassment. So that middle did buy quite a lot of time there. And killed quite a lot of SAV. But I think Larva is kind of stuck at this 3 base for a long time, that this kind of somewhat became an all-in by Rush at the moment.
Well, we see that supplies are doubling now for Rush, and he's still got his 3 bases. He's got his 4th command center at mid-left. Meanwhile, Larva still has no 4th base, and this small Terran ball ends up picking off a lot of Hydras. Yep, there is the GG from Larva right there. And Rush, he's going to take game 2. But it looked scary at the end. I was getting worried once the Darkstorm got on top of the factories that he didn't have enough vessels, but manages to pull the game in his favor.
That was a defense by Rush, using all those number of a siege tank and keep constantly picking up a lurker as much as you can, and using the sand vessels as well. And it was a little bit unfortunate that Rush had just way too many siege tank for Larva to break that side. If Rush did not go for siege tank, let's say he was doing very classic of an M&M with the mass science vessel in that kind of situation, Rush probably have lost that game because of those number of Hydralisk with the lurker. But it was a very good decision making by Rush that he switched to mass tank in the middle of the game here.
Yeah, ended up saving the game for him. And you know what time it is, Gan? It's coming. I'm not going to be debated by the commercial.
Yes.
It is going to be that Hot 6 commercial coming at us. We're going to see which one is Into the Rain's favorite flavor. Is it really going to be a commercial?
Well, they're showing Hot 6 for sure, and Artgyr.
Okay, there it is. I knew it! Yeah, so the game that we just saw, I thought Larva was in a good position after he dealt so much damage with the Mutalisk, but the Hydra Lurker Defiler did not do as much damage as expected, and he stayed on the 3 bases for way too long. As I mentioned before, Hero has shown Hydra Lurker Defiler just recently quite often. What do you think the reason is that we see this change instead of going into just, Ling Lurker, take your 4th base, or even Ultra play?
I think it could be the reason that there are so many situations, because Zerg vs Terran is just purely micro-oriented, and you have to be on top of the point to keep up the pace and make sure that you're holding the middle of the map, that you have the map control. So if Zerg starts to fall behind and has to play defensive style, like having all those stacked lurkers with the Defiler and try to secure each expansion here and there, that could be the reason why that Terran starts to have just way too many science vessel for going for Ultralisk. So I think that could be the reason why Zerg started to try out the Lurker Hydra combo, because Terran was just playing without tanks.
Yeah, I've been a big advocate of this Hydra Lurker Defiler style for a long time. The first time I ever faced it was maybe like 12 years ago, back when Heartbreak Ridge was a map, and I remember being out of vision and getting plagued as I came near a ramp, and then just everything eats the plague, and I started getting one-shotted from a Hydra from a distance. It's so hard to play versus. I'm really happy to see that it's coming back. Of course, it is very hard to control. It's hard enough to just control a Defiler, but then you're also comboing that the Hydras are vulnerable under Darkstorm. You don't ever want to go out of range. It is difficult to play, but we're going into a commercial. Alright guys, we are back. We just saw the Hydra Lurker Defiler play get denied on Eclipse. Now we're going to be going into Game 3 Ascension. And I feel like this is another map we might see it on. There's a lot of high ground everywhere. There's that tiny entrance, which makes something like, you know, Crazy Zerg not so viable since Ultras can't exactly flood through the fastest. What are your thoughts on Ascension here? Are we going to see something like what we just saw again?
Ascension, I was talking about the Ascension with StarCraft 2 Pro Scarlet. A lot of people who watch StarCraft 2, they probably know who she is. And Scarlet was saying that 7 o'clock Ascension, that it has the worst mining spot. So I wonder how Russia's going to be played if he spawns at 7 o'clock.
Well, I guess we're going to find out in just a second. Let's get into Game 3, see if Rush gets that 7 o'clock spawn. Nope. But Larva gets the 7 o'clock spawn. Now, luckily he's Zerg where you don't have as many drones. Is that going to impact him as much here?
Well, if you are Zerg and if you do not spawn at 12 or 3 o'clock site, you don't have much of a mineral boost with those drone mining paths, so it is a little bit of a disadvantage side for Larva that he won't be having much of a mineral boost here. So but we can also talk about the Rush. Rush is a perspective because if you're Terran and if you spawn at the 12 o'clock side on Ascension, you cannot wall off at the natural. If you spawn at 8 o'clock or 4 o'clock, you can wall off the natural with the 2 depot with a single barracks, but 12 o'clock site, you can't. So I wonder what Rush is planning to do.
Well, looks like he doesn't know that because that's going to be a depot at the entrance. It may be a barracks placed to the right and just leaves a single gap there. We see stuff like that on Eclipse quite often. In fact, we saw it last game. So I'm not sure that's what Rush is going for. We are just waiting to see if either player is going to make a sneaky move. Like, is Rush going to go for 12 gas? Is Larva going to go for 3 hatch? Larva is going to scout him first, though, so that's a great scout pattern for him.
So as you mentioned, yes, this is going to be looking like a previous game, like an Eclipse 7 o'clock location wall. So I guess the wall works with the 2 depot, but it is not going to be looking pretty because the Marine comes out at the outside of the base, so that has to be open gap for Rush. Really needs that open gap for a Marine getting inside of the base. So we're also going to be seeing Larva did not build a hatchery. He has gone for the 12 pull here with the drone scout as well.
Yeah, and he sees the barracks, as I mentioned before. He scouts the center to see if there's any proxy shenanigans. Meanwhile, drone is going to come up here and start harassing that Rax, and that Rax I don't think is close to being done, so this could be quite annoying. Meanwhile, there is the hatchery at the natural, as you mentioned. Oh, actually, the Rax was farther along than I thought, but no gas for Larva just yet.
Also, yeah, Rush has the refinery with the 1 base, so he's not going to be putting down the command center. And at the same time, as soon as Larva figured out that Rush is not playing M&M opening, he's just going to go for the factory here, 1 base factory. So Larva is not going to make any Zergling. We just saw that he didn't have any larvae still remaining, finally getting the couple of Zergling, 2 Zergling only. So I like how Larva is responding to Rush's opening here.
Yep, that is going to be a factory opener for Rush. We are going to wait and see if he puts down a starport instantly afterwards or if he's going to expand. His gas is surprisingly higher than I was anticipating. He even has 2 on gas. So for now, this looks like it's going to be a 1 base play. 3rd hatch in the main for Larva is going down, so he's going to be dealing with this with just Hydralisk in the initial stages. Drone falls down, but it scouted everything it needed to see, and you can see that that is a very, very late lair follow-up for Larva.
So judging by the number of investment gas that Rush has, I am thinking that Rush might gonna go for a factory expand into maybe double starport. That could be one of the possibilities, but we can see Rush did not get any of the vultures because he knows that he can't really do anything with a single vulture. So he'll be getting the machine shop. So I guess it's not going to be the double starport here.
Yeah, but he is banking up quite a lot of gas. And with that add-on, I'm thinking that this could be for a run-by. We will see if he does get speed or mines on his vultures. That starport is quite quick. I was imagining that this is probably going to be a science facility, but we've seen Valkyrie play more often these days. I guess that could be a choice, especially since the Spire is going to be so late. I don't know. That's quite an expensive build to go for, so I don't think we're going to see that. But there is the first Wraith coming out.
Yes, there's a single Wraith will be coming out soon, and Larva also going to spot all those vultures sneaking out with that single Ovular standing. And we can see that 2 Zerglings are trying to go inside of Rush's main base, and Larva will realize that that must be the second vulture out on the map, so he might be suspecting that a vulture speed. And Larva is definitely aware of it. He has the Spire, Hydra, everything at the natural, but he doesn't have any buildings at top, so that is a little bit vulnerable for Larva at the moment.
Yeah, and that single Wraith, if it goes in and shoots the drone, okay, vultures are going in right now, and they get in, or one of them gets in, and both of them get in, but a Hydra pops out just in the nick of time, but he loses 2 or 3 drones. So this is the run-by I was talking about. There's another drone going down, but the drone drill through the back is going to prevent any more losses. Spire is almost done, though, but look at Larva's supply. He's supply blocked. That means he may not be able to build. Okay, now an Overlord pops, so he will be able to build a decent amount of Mutalisks out on time, but he has no resources.
Yeah, I think he won't be making much of a Mutalisk because he knows he lost quite a lot of drone, and we know that he didn't go for 12 hatchery. He has gone for the 12 pull into this 2 hatch layer into 3 hatchery like this, so he has very low number of drone count at the moment, but I'm not sure what that, maybe that 200 gas that he spent, it could be the lurker bust, maybe? Is that what we're going to be seeing?
It could be lurkers. It would catch Rush completely off guard, because why would you go for a lurker bust when I'm about to have a vessel just sitting outside of my natural, potentially? The Scourge will obviously be looking to kill it. Not going to find any kill onto the Wraith. Turrets and bunker already in position. We see that more barracks are going down and more Hydras are being built. So this is an all-in play from Larva. Now, does Rush take the bait? Yeah, he's built so many turrets, and this is actually not going to be a mutaplay. It is going to be that lurker bust that you were mentioning.
Yeah, Larva probably realized that he probably feels unsatisfied as soon as that 2 vulture went inside of Larva's main base and pick up some of the drones here and there. So Larva does not want to play late game here. Oh, one of the drones. Oh, the vulture will get picked up by the Sunken. So that was a little bit of missed micro by Rush. And Rush finally realized this is going to be the lurker all in. He's trying to make an extra marine, but only a single bunker. I don't think it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, he may have not noticed that this was a lot of Hydras and Lurkers. Okay, there's the second bunker. I was obviously thinking along the same lines as you. It's like, okay, you saw it. Where's the bunker? Now it is being built, but Lings are going to try and jump on this. There's no stim. I don't even know if he has range, and that bunker is potentially going to get busted. SCV's trying to repair it, but it's just a little bit too much DPS, and it does fall, and there's nothing behind this for Rush.
I really like that lurker board placement because it was also denying that second bunker while he was building, so he couldn't really defend. That 2 sense vessels are trying to some momentum job, but the lurkers are pretty much doing the damage on the SCV and Siege Tank. I don't think Rush can hold off here. More Zerglings will come, so I don't think it doesn't even matter even if those lurker dies here.
Yeah, this is going to be all of the SCVs falling for Rush. He's got units popping out one at a time. He's got a tank and a marine being built, and that's it. And he taps out, and Larva is going to steal a game away from Rush. Rush had a really great opener with the vultures dealing a lot of damage, getting a Overlord kill with the Wraith, and that was such a razor thin timing for Larva. You saw the tank come out about 20 seconds after the bunker, and we don't even know if Stim completed, but it was probably close to finishing before that attack happened, so a bit unlucky for Rush. But Larva, that's going to put him 1 game away from making it into the round of 4.
I was also looking at carefully of Larva's shirt. This is Hyun. Maybe some people might think what that word means, but there's no meaning into that word. I know Larva has a daughter, and his daughter's name is Hyun, so I think that could be the reason why he's wearing that shirt.
Oh, that's a cute reference there. And that is going to be the end of Game 3. So we are going to be going into a quick break any moment now, and we're going to find out afterwards if Larva can take this series 3-1. I really thought that this was going to be the season for Rush, ASL Champ 11 Rush, but Larva, he's making his move this time around. This might actually be the first time we see Larva go the distance. But again, guys, we're going to be going into that break, and then we'll be right back. All right, guys, we are getting into potentially the last game of the day. It's make or break for Rush. If he loses, his ASL dreams are going to be gone. And Larva, I really liked his all-in there. You know, the whole time when he saw the wall and saw the opener, I was thinking, man, I really wish we had seen a Hydra bust. He ends up going for that delayed Lurker Ling along with a Spire. So really sick timing from him.
Yeah, so
and we are going to...
That is a little bit of the disadvantage of for Rush, because all the plans that he decided to do in game number 3, he did really well with the Vulture run by and the Wraith picking up the Overlords, and kind of made Larva to be poor with the number of drones that he had, but he didn't think of the Lurker all in there, so that was a misread information by Rush that he couldn't really react really well there. But fourth game is going to be Fighting Spirit. It's his choice. A lot of people think it's a Terran flavor map, but I wonder what Rush is going to do in this game number 4.
Yes, it is Fighting Spirit for our fourth map. Let's see if Larva can close it out. Oh, it's Doomsday for Rush Scan, because in the bottom left we have our Terran player. Top right is Larva, and again, Rush is going to feel like, man, why am I so unlucky? This is the absolute worst spawn to get on Fighting Spirit if you want to deal with Mutalisk. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see an 8-Rax, just try and skip it altogether.
Yeah, so since Rush has not showed any of the 8-Rax so far, maybe he might have saved that 8-Rax for the game number 4. I wonder if he's going to be doing the 8-Rax in Fighting Spirit, because he spawned at the 7 o'clock site. It's that difficult for Terrans to put down the missile turret whenever Zerg starts to get the number of Mutalisks, but I don't see... Okay, here it is. Finally, Rush is sending out the SCP. I wonder if this is going to be the depot or barracks.
Well, this is a depot timing. You send it out at 48 minerals, and you get there exactly on time at 100, as you can see. 48 minerals is only if you're going to go for a low ground bunker, or low ground depot. If you want to build it in your main, do it at 56 for you Terrans out there that want to optimize a little bit. Meanwhile, Larva, no early pool this game just yet. He may put down an overpool. He's got the 200 minerals right now, but did not go down. So we are just going to have a standard 12 hatch opener. Now, as we've mentioned before, bottom left, you can wall this position. And we saw Rush last time he was on this map. He ended up going for that Valkyrie opener. So I don't think we're going to see anything other than that. I really do expect to see another Valkyrie play.
We can also see Larva is sending out 2 drones at the same time and building a hatchery. So we might going to see 3 hatch opening, because there's a small difference of doing 2 hatch build and 3 hatch build. Whenever you're doing a 2 hatch build, you never send out this scouting drone really fast, this fast. But since Larva did that super fast drone scout before the hatchery starts, oh, never mind. Okay, Larva, maybe he was aware of that 8-Rax because it's a Fighting Spirit, so I guess that could be the reason why Larva sent out the drone really fast. But okay, we're gonna be seeing Larva gonna be doing 2 hatch. But normally, when you're doing the 2 hatch build, you start sending out the drone after you start your hatchery. So this is somewhat different, but Larva is playing really safe here.
Yeah, you could see the scout pattern from him checking for that 8-Rax in the middle. We both were kind of expecting to potentially see the 8-Rax from Rush. Instead, everything is normal from him, and behind his wall this time, there is no gas, so it's not going to be a similar opener to what we saw last game. Drone does not get any intel. He comes in here. Oh, he does see the command center. I love this. I love when people go in for a secondary scout after they really don't see anything at the natural, because just having a wall doesn't tell you anything. It could be anything. You know, players like Firebat Hero love to build command centers or factories, you know, in their main. So this was a really nice scout from Larva to come in here, check and see that this was a command center at the natural. Behind this, we have a second Rax for Rush, so not going to be the Valkyrie build.
And yes, I totally agree with the second scout after that, whenever the command center should be starting, that was excellent by Larva, as you mentioned. And since Larva knows that Rush has gone for the barracks expand, we are going to see very classic standard opening, just like the game number 2 on Eclipse. But this time, I wonder if Larva is gonna do 4 hatchery build, like 2 hatch spire into 4 hatch, or whether he's gonna be doing 2 hatch spire into 3 hatch. So we have to see that carefully. And I think finally the spire just started because the Vesping gas just now disappeared.
Well, Rush loses that SCV, instantly sends out another. You can see that Larva's expecting another SCV to come because he has those 2 lings just sitting on the ramp. 3rd hatch in the main for Larva. It's not going to be at another base, and it's in a sneaky location. When Rush scans, he may not be able to spot it. Now, the SCV, I'm not sure right now whether it's looking for hatches. It's going to go to top left, not find anything.
Yes, Rush is planning to scout all those another spawning location to see whether Larva has gone for the 3rd hatchery at the 11 o'clock side. But as soon as he just confirmed that there's no hatchery at the 11 o'clock side, he might be gonna be saving that compensation energy to throw down some of the scan at the 5 o'clock side later. But for sure that okay, yeah, this is what I was talking about. 2 hatch spire into 4 hatch. So this is what Larva is planning to do. We can see his drone standing at the 3 o'clock spot. Okay, he's pulling back his drone because as soon as the M&M was coming out, Larva was feeling too much of a pressure with that M&M moving out, so he won't be putting down the hatchery, adding to Sunken Colony at the natural.
You have Rush moving out with a very, very tiny marine ball. So he's going to turn around for now. You can see that the SCV is moving to mid-right to see if there's a hatchery there. And now all that's really left for Rush to scout is bottom right. And we know that there's not a hatchery there. It would be a bit of a weird position for Larva to take bottom right, but I guess he could have. Meanwhile, first couple Mutalisks are going to be coming out. Now, you were mentioning the 4 hatch play. Is that specifically versus like a tech opener? Or does this also work versus Bob? Because as I was watching it, I was like, man, if he puts down that 4th hatch, he has no money for any mutas. And I think Marines just stem across there and kill it.
Yeah, some Terran players like to play a little bit of passive with the M&M bulb, so but Rush was moving out with the M&M really fast with the 5-minute mark with the 6 Marine with the 2 medics, so I think that pressured Larva so much that he couldn't afford that drone to morph the 4th hatchery on the way. So that could be the reason why Larva did not go for the 4th hatchery. So that was a little bit unlucky for Larva, not going well with this plan.
Well, so far, bottom left has not been too much of a detriment to Rush. He hasn't taken much damage from the mutas. Meanwhile, 4th hatch is going at top left. Rush scanned the main, and he saw that there was a 3rd hatch there. So he knows that there is no 4th base or 4th hatchery up and running just yet. You definitely wouldn't have the econ for that. Meanwhile, he didn't see Hydrogen or anything. So again, this is going to be a lot of mutas and lings for now. And Rush has gone to the center of the map unscouted.
And we can also see Rush has quite a lot of Vesping gas. And oh, the starports are already on the way. Hearing a couple of scan here and there and making sure whether Larva has added that a Hydrogen at the main base or not, but we don't see any Hydrogen. We see more mutas being made. Is that a couple more of a... Okay, that is a Zergling. I think Larva is going to do the same pattern as game number 2 that we have seen in the Eclipse. So he's going to be making that metabolic list of the Zergling speed on the way, and more Zerglings are getting out of the map.
Well, he has a decent chunk of mutas and lings now. But we know that Rush scanned it, and he's going to just wait for critical mass. But we may see another backstab scenario, but Rush is not committed to the center of the map yet. Okay, now maybe he has. Is he a little bit too far forward for this counterattack? Larva's not going to show. Okay, now he's going to move in, and I think this was a little bit too quick for Larva. Russia is going to come back and should be able to deal with this easily. However, this does buy Larva time to get top left up and running.
I like how Larva is breaking every single missile thread and buying some time, but at the same time, those Mutalisks are kind of on a low HP at the moment. 8 Mutalisks, but 4 of them are already on a red HP, so Larva needs to be careful with those Mutalisks micro here.
Well, I like this choice from Rush because he saw that this is going to be a 4-hatch play, and hey, when you open with 2-hatch into 4-hatch, you can't have tech also at the same time. You can see he has the add-on for the factory, so he's going to be going for a tank push, probably with just 2 tanks. We saw in Larva's main, Hive just now starting, so this is going to be a real window of opportunity for Rush to just completely roll over Larva if he ends up going for the natural.
We can see Larva did not have any of a Hydroden at the main base, so with the Avalanche Chamber, with the Queen's Nest, so we can tell this is going to be the crazy Zerg build. That immediately switching to Ultralisk after using a couple of Zerglings in the middles here and there. But okay, finally Larva is going to be saturating that 11 o'clock gas.
Yep, Mutas finds some more success on this tiny Marine Ball. There's Marine Balls in the main and at the natural. Oh, he finds the tanks! And if he can get these tanks, that could be game-saving. He picks off the first one. He needs that second one, though. But he loses so many Mutalisks. But you can see he knows that it's worth to sacrifice the Mutalisks just for those 2 tanks. But you can see kind of from Larva's reaction there, he's not happy about losing that many Mutalisks. Now, because he's gone for this crazy Zerg, Lurkers are nowhere near completed anywhere. You can see that he scanned the ramp at the 3rd base, actually, and he saw nothing, and he's got his eyes set on taking down that base.
Yeah, Larva was tilting on his webcam when he was started to lose quite a lot of Mutalisks when he was picking up that C-Stack. We just got to see Larva had that Hydrodan at the main base, so that means his Lurker upgrade still not complete. Finally got the 2 Hydralisks out on the map at 11 o'clock side, so he will have that 2 Lurker sack on. Okay, maybe not yet, or soon. Okay, yeah, he's focusing on that 11 o'clock side now. Rush is slowly moving out with the number of a siege tank and maybe 1 vessel. Does he have a vessel yet?
Yeah, he has a vessel out. I think he even has 2 vessels out.
Oh, okay.
Yep, there are the 2, and he's got a tank, and he's going to try and bust down the 3rd base. I guess he's decided that going for the throat at the natural is not going to work very well. It's a little bit too far along, so instead he just wants to bust down this 3rd base. Now he has a massive army. Of course, it is only 1 tank, so it's going to be a little bit hard to get through all of this. But he has the double irradiate, and Marines are already on top of those Lurker eggs. Oh no, this might be a bust for Rush. He's going to lose nothing, really. He lost a handful of Marines, and that's it. And now Larva has to give up his ramp. And that means he's most likely going to have to give up his 3rd base. I don't see a Nidus there either. Oh, there it is. But it's not connected.
Yeah,
it's not connected.
Yeah, that was a bit unlucky for Larva that he couldn't get that Lurker finish on time. And he has to give up that expansion. So it looks like Larva is going to go for backstab here. Armor 1 is done. So that Lurker and the Defiler. Okay, Rush probably figured out that Larva doesn't have any choice on going for the backstab here, so Larva is trying to retreat, but Defiler is already at the bridge.
Oh yes, Defiler's already here. He needs to pop the Defiler. If he pops
God.
the Defiler, this push is entirely over, but instead, the Defiler survives, and he's going to get a Darkstorm on top of the bunker, but he needs more than that. Critical Irradiate goes down onto that Defiler. I don't think he'll be able to push any farther. Oh, there's more Defilers coming into play, but a second one gets sniped. And he's going to continue pushing with this Darkstorm. He's almost breached the natural now.
That is quite a lot of Lurkers still at the natural, but Rush is also doing really well, cutting off all those reinforcement, because every time when Larva is using all those number of Defiler, consuming every single Zergling that he has to, he can't really send that reinforcement in the middle of the map.
Well, double irradiate goes down onto 2 out of the 5 Lurkers. There's 3 remaining. Observer pointed out that Rush has +2 weapon and not any armor, so he's going to be able to counteract the armor upgrade of Larva, assuming it gets to that game. Those SCVs are so clumped, they might all fall, and the Lurkers are still alive. The Firebats are going to try and burst down that Lurker. He does manage to get 1 kill, but there's still 2 there, I think. And look at how fast these Firebats are dying.
I'm liking this game because
20 kills?
I'm liking this game because even though Larva, that one of the mistake that he had, the one mistake he made was losing so much of Middleless when he was picking up the Sea Stang, but these pressure that Larva has done, now Rush can't really move out.
Yeah, Rush, that army that he has right now, that's pretty much his only army because he's lost so many SCVs. Look, he transfers 12 right there, and there's only maybe like 10 left in his main. So his econ is devastated. You can see his upgrades are still great. He's at 2-1. Meanwhile, Larva is taking bottom right, and it's gone unscouted for now. He has this small army all over the place, like one lurker, one defiler. Oh, that's a lot of lurkers on the left side. And there's no defense. Look at the natural. There's not even a bunker. There's nothing. Luckily for Rush, there's no defiler. If there was the defiler, this might be the end of the game. But lurkers and Lings getting into position. That's going to be... Yeah, SCVs are all going to fall again.
Oh my god, this is not looking pretty for Rush because he definitely does have a lot of vessels, but no armor upgrade of a Marine Medic. They start dying so easily to those lurkers. And look at the supply count, it's about even, 62 versus 67.
Yeah, Larva has brought it back with this nice counterattack with his Lings, lurkers, and defilers, and now he's double expanding. He's got the 4th base actually at the natural of top left. 3rd base is at bottom right. This time he is going to have that Nidus connected, and he did spot the dropship, so he sends Scourge already into position on the bottom side of the map to try and intercept it. Now, something we haven't mentioned is that vessel count has gotten dangerously high. It's at 5. Marines spot the 3rd or the 4th base at top left, and it instantly gets canceled, and instead he's going to reposition it at top middle.
The number of ascents vessel Rush has is looking scary at the moment. Larva is trying to secure that 7 o'clock site, but at the same time, 5 o'clock site, but at the same time, bringing 2 groups of Zerglings. But Rush realized that he knows Larva does not have much of an option going for the backstep, but at the same time, going up the high ground, dropship did not land. Okay.
Yeah, that might have just been a bait to draw Scourge up there and sacrifice the dropship instead of losing a vessel. We see Larva is scrambling to get some defense, but with firebacks mixed in, these Lings under Darkstorm are not going to do anything. And Larva, who had a really nice counterattack, all of a sudden, he's going to lose his 3rd base, I think. And what does he do from here? Now supplies are 90 to 50. He's going to lose all these high-tech defilers, too.
Oh, the Nidus will go down. So the 5 o'clock expansion is going to be vulnerable, and Rush is keeping up this game really well because of the vessels are still alive.
Yeah, vessel count was crucial to this win from Rush. I think it is going to be a win. The Nidus falls. There's nothing left for Larva, and he taps out. What a chaotic game, and through the chaos, it's Rush that ends up taking the win, and he's going to tie up the score 2-2. So his run in the ASL is not over just yet.
I'm impressed at how well Larva was keeping up the game, and he knows how to make his own scenario to win the game as well. So remember that he was falling behind in game number 3 on Ascension, and he decided to change his plan for going all in and going for those lurker all in, and Rush was not prepared for that. And same thing happened for this game number 4. Rush almost had the game in the beginning, in the middle of the game, but he didn't think of the backstab and started losing so much of SCV because of the Darkstorm and a couple of lurkers that he brought. So Rush really needs to pay attention in the late game because Larva is making a great decision here and there at the late game right now.
Yeah, Terrans after this ASL are going to have PTSD because all the backstabs that Zergs have gone for has been pretty crazy. I don't know if we've seen just any game where Zerg hasn't gone for a backstab, and you could see that Rush was even nervous moving out in the early stages. I was really thinking that Larva was going to get his 3rd base up and running because of how long Rush was taking to move out on the map, but it still ended up working out for him, and he is going to take the game. Now, this is going to be the first Game 5 we've had in the entire round of 8. So excited to see this in this group in particular, of course, because Rush is one of my favorite Terrans. But we're going to be going into a quick break, and then we're going to find out who makes it in to the round of 4. We are back. This is going to be the first game 5 we get to see in the entire round of 8. So exciting. Larva and Rush slugging it out. As I mentioned before, Terrans are going to have a nightmare on the ladder, I know for a fact, with all these Zerg players in the ASL just avoiding the army and just only going for backstabs. Our final map of the day is going to be on Polaris Rhapsody, an interesting map. We've seen a whole variety of builds. You know, the first game that comes to mind is Soma. Was it Soma versus Mini? I can't remember exactly who he played against, but remember he went 3 hatch before pool without even scouting at all? And I feel like we may see Larva open with something like that if he sees that there is no early Rax opener. We are just waiting to get into the game. Oh, we are ready. So let's get into game 5. Find out whether Larva makes it into the round of 4, or is this destiny for YamTube, aka Rush, to make it into the round of 4 and potentially get all the way to the finals. So in the top left, we have our red Zerg player. It is Larva. And in the bottom right, with the better spawn that Scan always talks about, it is Rush.
Yeah, that is definitely a better spawn. But we can see how Rush is focusing on those horizontal mining at the very top one. Look at the mineral. He's slowly mining more than a Larva right now. Look at this.
Yeah, it is true. You know, ever since you've mentioned it, I started doing it on maps like Eclipse or bottom right of Polypoid, and it really does help your build quite a bit, because there are so many games I play on Eclipse and me and the opponent play the same build but on bottom left, and I get to their base and not only do they have the Marine and Depot nonstop, but they also have the SCV building at the same time. I'm like, dude, we do the same build. How do you have this just slightly better econ?
Yeah.
And it really does make a difference. Now we have Rush with another wall at the entrance. Now this is a full wall. He is going to be able, and it is pretty far away. This is one of the things that I like about Polaris Rhapsody, is that you really can't hide whether you build a command center. The drone cannot get in range of seeing it.
That is absolutely true. But at the same time, I kind of want to point out that Larva definitely knows that Rush really likes to play with M&M, and Larva also knows that Rush is not a great player with 1-1-1 opening. So I think even if Larva playing against Rush and not being able to scout that natural, he might be excluding that 1-1-1 opening.
Well, we see that it is a standard 12 hatch from Larva. I am a bit surprised he didn't scout at all, because this is a 2-player map. If Rush had gone for an 8 Rax, which he does like to do if you guys watch his stream, this game would already be chaotic. And going for a fast scout like this, you know, when he sees a fast Rax or just a standard opener, I mean, he does have the option to go for a 3 hatch. So I'm a little bit surprised here, but we do see that Larva is just playing normal. He goes for that standard 2 hatch gas timing. Meanwhile, Drone gonna come in here, and well, he's gonna come in here and see that command center is going to get built.
Oh, that Drone getting stuck bottom of the barracks 2 times in a row. I think Larva click to get out of Rush's main base 2 times in a row. So maybe that could be the reason why it got stuck bottom of the barracks. But finally, Rush will be walling off. But I'm gonna be looking carefully at Rush's main base, because I want to know whether he's gonna go for 2 racks opening, just like the early game that we have seen on the Fighting Spirit, or is he gonna do the +1 attack, like super fast +1 attack on Eclipse build? But okay, we will be seeing 2 racks.
Yeah, so this so far identical builds to what we saw on Fighting Spirit, just waiting for the gas timing. That's a 310 gas timing. Last game it was a 330 Academy. We'll see if he wants to put it down even faster this time. You can see he doesn't have the resources, and it appears that he's not going to be willing to cut an SCV to put it down much faster, but that Academy is going to be coming down momentarily. Everything so far identical to the Fighting Spirit game.
And yes, we are also looking at Larva, that he's trying to get that SCV as soon as possible, because as soon as that SCV dies, like super fast, then Rush has to send out another SCV, and that also means Rush has to lift up that barracks once again, and we're gonna be seeing he's lifting up at the barracks because Larva, he has been showing so many different strategies. He showed Rush that he can do all in. So if Rush loses that SCV so fast, he has to be aware of that lurker all in once again. So I like how Larva is focusing on those killing that SCV in the beginning. And he's now going for a couple of Zerglings into a third hatchery, maybe at the 9 o'clock side.
Yeah, we do have Lings just poking in onto these depots. Now, SCV did get across the map and is going to go for another scout. This is not a lurker opener. The Spire is halfway done, and Larva is taking mid-left. Now, sometimes, even if you lose your SCV coming in with a secondary scout, if you see something like 10 to 12 Lings, most of the time, in my experience, that ends up being a lurker opener just because they want to bust the entrance. You don't really have that type of move with a Muta opener. This time around, he doesn't spot any Lings, so he knows that this has to be Mutas at this point. There's no reason to, have no Lings being built at this moment, and he does come in and confirm that. Now, back in Rush's main, I saw eBay was going up, actually pretty fast. He's going to be getting that +1 weapon, or maybe not. He's going into 4 racks.
Haven't seen that 2 racks eBay into 4 racks for a long time. So this time, Rush is planning to go for a heavy M&M pressure. And I want to see Rush as the main base, whether he's mining the gas with the 3 SCV or just a single SCV. Maybe as soon as he spends all those Vespene gas for the range up, steam pack and the range upgrade. Yeah, I think he just took out all the SCV from the refinery, right? So finally he's adding a bunker instead of turret. That's interesting.
Yep, Hydra Den coming down very quickly this game. All the other games we've seen from Larva, the Hydra Den has kind of been quite late. Bunker going down, so Mutas shouldn't have much success. Meanwhile, he's going to pull back the majority of his Marines back to his main and try and defend the initial harassment.
And I just saw that Larva's main base, Larva was making the Hydra Den on the way, and he's also adding another hatchery. So this is a 2-hatch Spire into 4-hatch that you get to see in this type of situation. He wanted to play this style in the Fighting Spirit, but it didn't work well because of the M&M pressure at 5-minute mark. So this time he's doing 2-hatch Spire into 4-hatch, and he's showing only a little bit of a Mutas, but it doesn't really matter. Having this Mutas flying around at Terran's side or Terran's territory, it is already telling Rushes or forcing Rushes to build missile turrets anyways. And even if Rush moves out with this M&M ball, Larva will have enough drones already and start making the extra Mutas from here.
Yeah, it is only 4 Mutas, is that right? He hasn't built really anything. You can see that Sunkens are going up at mid-left. Meanwhile, no Sunkens at the natural, so there is a bit of a window of opportunity for Rush if he does just go straight to the natural to bust that. And I think Larva's playing with fire here. I don't know if Rush ended up scanning that nat, but if he did, he should potentially go for a killing move here. Now, when Rush scans...
Hello? Did I lose connection? Yeah, we can see Rush is moving out with this maybe 1.5 or 1.5 group. And I hope my connection is back by now.
Have a Sunken set up. You can see that Lings have bled off. Oh, lurkers are in time, but Rush doesn't care. He's going to try and jump on it. This is most likely a mistake. There's still a lot of Mutalisks left over. Lurker does fall, and the Mutas are going to reign supreme with this Sunken. That was a huge blunder from Rush.
Yeah, that wasn't a great bust for Rush because he lost all those M&M ball. And as soon as all those M&M ball dies in the middle of the map, Larva can decide whether he wants to put all those lurker in the front of a Terran's base, like lurker contain, or he can just immediately make so many drones from here.
I can't believe Rush ended up going for it. I don't know, maybe he thought his +1 weapon kicked in. It is 8:30. It may have kicked in, and he thought that that was his window of opportunity to just end the game, but now he's lost his entire bio ball. That means he has no pressure out on the map, and supplies are dead even, and now these Mutalisks are going to have free reign over the main, and Rush is in big time trouble. He's going to lose a ton of SCVs.
Oh, no.
There's no reaction from his natural either. I don't even see any Marines coming. Okay, there's 5. That's not enough to take down 11 Mutalisks.
It was also only a single missile turret, and Larva is pretty much doing quite a lot of harassment, picking up SCV here and there.
Oh my god.
And these Marines are pretty much stuck by the command center and the combat station, blocking the path.
Yeah, this is one of the dilemmas of getting this particular spawn, is a scenario like this where the Mutas just hide at the bottom right corner of your base. How do you actually engage them? There's still 6 Mutalisks left, and he can still pick off Marines in one shot, and Rush is forced to go for a full SCV transfer. He has nothing, actually nothing.
Oh no. At the same time, Larva brought 2 lurkers over here. Oh.
Well, they tried to run in, but Rush with the medic and SCV wall stalls them from getting into the natural. And the game is going to somewhat stabilize at this point. We've got Factory with the add-on. It's 6 barracks, double starport, but after losing all those SCVs, there's no way he can support all of that production. So he's going to have to try and crawl back some other way. A lot of players would go for drops, but I don't even think you can go for drops at this point because that puts you super all in. I don't even know if it would win him the game with the macro hatch from Larva. He still has a lot of units, or a lot of Larva available to produce a lot of units. So if you're Rush in this position, are you just trying to build up your vessel count?
I think that could be the one of the solutions because Irready doesn't cost any money. It's just a magic unit, it's just a spell unit that constantly pick up a Zerg unit here and there. So that could be the answer. That since Rush is behind in the game, but we can see Larva is already moving out with the number of lurkers with a couple of Zerg, and once again he's going for the backstab, and he's not aware of it. Bunkers are completely empty. Main base, do you have missile turret? Yes, you do. But
this time around, Rush is a little bit better defended, but it's still 6 Mutalisks, and they can pack a punch. The 2 turrets at the bottom slightly out of position on the top side of the minerals, but now Rush has closed the gap in terms of supply a little bit. He irradiated down 3 lurkers, or 2 lurkers, and he is slowly building up that vessel count. What is that, 4, I think?
I think so. And I kind of want to point out about the both of the supply cap, but we can see the armor 1 is done for Larva, but I think the armor 1 is also done for Rush, so that Marine did not die much.
Yeah, not a lot of Marines following there, and he does take out not just the 3 lurkers, but he didn't have to blow irradiates for those 3 lurkers, so he still has a lot of irradiate available for a secondary attack, especially when defilers start coming out. Nidus already set up at mid left, so that's not going to work, and that is a lot of lurkers at the natural. If Rush goes for this, I would be shocked.
I don't think he can do it, but we can see Larva once again rotating a couple of army to the right side of the map. So does he have the defiler ready, or maybe not? I don't see
no.
Okay, there's the defiler. So once again he's going for the backstab once again. The same scenario.
Oh my gosh. I just can't believe that every Terran player is getting backstabbed every single game. And that is a lot of lurkers on the right side of the map. Rush, we got a glimpse at his vision. He has no vision of the center and right side of the map. You can see he's pulling back now. Maybe he suspects something's up. But Defiler is already ready. And Marines actually are stemming into position at mid-right. Defiler is going to be intercepted by this vessel, but doesn't have enough time to get the Dark Swarm down. There's the first one.
That was a nice, nice irradiate and saving some time, but Larva is definitely on point and constantly rotating a couple of army to the right side once again. And at the same time, he was also morphing another expansion at the 7 o'clock side. So if Larva starts to get that Nidus gonna connect to the 7 o'clock side, oh, Rush definitely does not know about the 7 o'clock expansion at all. So he only thinks Larva has 3 base so far.
Yeah, we heard a scan go off somewhere. I don't know exactly where it is, but that is another huge backstab coming across the map. There's a decent amount of fire bats though, but look how many lurkers there are, and the Defiler's already here, man.
Oh no, this is not looking great, but Dark Swarm will go down. But that was a weird Dark Swarm there. But there's quite a lot of fire bats, but these number of lurkers is just way too many for fire bats to hold. We can see Rush is bringing a whole of his army, but at the same time, oh, he's denying a couple of, he sends a couple of Marines to the 7 o'clock side, so he will be also denying that expansion. That's also nice. But
look at look at that vessel count. It's massive. If he's able to stabilize and not lose these vessels going into the mid game, he has a real shot at making a comeback. Like, there is so much to radiate here, but yeah, lurkers are gonna get into the main, and that's where all the SCVs are because they've been transferred. Rush, you gotta pay attention. There goes 12 SCVs already.
oh my god, a couple of lurkers are still alive at the natural. There are 3 lurkers, and now they're gonna be climbing up to the main base. They even survived.
Oh my god, they're gonna get into the SCV line. 19 kills on that one, and this is Rush probably just gonna fall right here because he's gonna have no econ after this. SCVs are all getting shredded. Now he realizes, and how many SCVs does he have left? It's like 8. He just taps out, and it's gonna be Larva taking our last match of the round of 8. He's gonna be moving into the round of 4. What a crazy day of ZVT.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I am not excited to play ladder these days. Because nobody's going to want to fight me in the middle of the map. They're all just going to try and avoid and go for that Ling Lurker style, whether they have a Defiler or not. And wow, that was perfectly done from Larva and Rush. A little bit too ambitious with his army. As I mentioned, he had no vision at all of the middle or the right side. And Larva was literally at his natural by the time Rush reacted.
Yeah. Rush usually have those science facility and factory float in the middle of the map to see all those Zerg units, but today's Rush's performance, he doesn't send his factory nor science facility to get all those map vision control. But yeah, that map awareness is just pretty much help for Larva to win the game here. I'm going for the backstab.
Yeah, when a unit like the Defiler exists in the game, you've got to know where it is at all points, and Larva played it to perfection. He's going to move into the round of 4, and that's going to set up a ZVZ on that side of the bracket because he's going to be going up. Oh no, it's not going to be a ZVZ. It's going to be a ZVP. It's going to be him versus Snow. We are just waiting to get into the interview.
ASL 시즌 11 8강 마지막 경기 함께
ASL
하셨습니다.
Season
마지막
11.
4강
This was the
진출자가
day
탄생했는데요. 풀세트 접전
last game of
끝에
the quarterfinal.
치열한 경기 끝에
That was an
승리를 거두고 4강에
intense
올라간 이몽규
best of
선수
5 series,
만나보겠습니다.
and
축하드립니다.
we are going to be meeting up a person who's advancing into
승리를
semifinal.
거두고 난
Larva,
이후에
congratulations.
쉽사리 자리에서 일어나시지 못하는 모습이었어요. 정말 그동안의
The last
해왔던
moment we saw that you couldn't really
연습량에
stand up
대한
from your chair.
보상을 좀 받은 기분이실 것 같은데요.
네.
또 연속 4강 진출 이뤄내신 기분이 어떠신가요?
And how do you feel about making it into
일단은
semifinal?
좀 쉽게 올라갈 거라고 생각을 했었는데
Larva
되게
said
어렵게
he
힘겹게
thought
올라간
that he would
느낌이어서
make it into semi-final
좀
easily,
얼떨떨하고
but it was a very tough,
그냥 기분은
uh,
되게 좋은 것 같아요.
very tough
이
best
첫
of 5
번째
series for
세트도
him to make it
상대
into
뭐
semi-final.
마린 메딕 병력에 대한 대처도 굉장히 좋았고요.
So
근데
he's
유영진
feeling
선수가
happy that he
계속해서
made it into
스코어를 좀
semi-final.
쫓아오는 느낌이 들었어요. 쫓기는 입장에서의 심리적인 부담도 작지 않았을 것 같은데요.
막 제가 실수로 오늘
So Larva,
해가지고
you were pretty much getting chased by Russia's army,
땀이 너무 나다 보니까
and you were trying to make some comeback by the backstab all the time.
멘탈 너무 안 움직여가지고
And how was your performance? Larva said he made so much of a mistake today's match that things weren't really working really well for him because Rush was really reacting to all of his plan really well.
럴커 저글링으로 뚫어내는 굉장히 전략적인 판단을 하셨는데 연습 때 이런 좀 공격적인 빌드를 해야겠다라고 마음을 먹으셨나요? 아니면 좀 즉흥적인?
You showed us that you showed some kind of an all-in build, like a lurker zergling all-in. Were you planning to do this in this today's game, or you just decided to go with this build because you were falling behind?
말렸었고 거기서 이제 만약에 졌으면 아예 멘탈이 붕괴돼서 이제 떨어졌을 것 같은데.
Okay, Larva is saying that he didn't prepare for that strategy when he was in a behind situation. He decided that he can't really make any comeback, so he decided to do all in. And if his all in did not work against Rush's natural, then he would have been blanked out for the next game as well. But since every game of his decision making were working well for him, so he's happy that he was able to keep up the game.
못 뚫어놨나 봐요. 그래서 커널 타다 보니까 없는 거예요. 없어가지고 이거 어떻게 하지 해가지고 운영으로 따라가 보려고 했는데 역시 안 됐습니다.
그래도 이후에 바로 상대 앞마당 쪽을 타이밍으로 연속해서 좀
So Larva was talking about the game number 4 that he had the Nidus Canal. He thought that his Nidus Canal was connected to another spawning location, so he was clicking that Nidus Canal, but his units weren't shifting. And as soon as that units were not shifting to the other location, and Rush was already attacking him, he knew that he can't keep up the game, so he was a bit disappointed of his performance there.
그래서 병력을 돌리면 어쨌든 테란의 발을 또 묶어서 좋고 만약에 제 쪽으로 온다면 저는
Larva is talking about game number 5 that when Rush was moving out in the middle of the map with the Science Vessel. And Larva also did quite a lot of damage with the middle harassment, so he definitely knew that he does not need to chase Rush's army. Rush had those M&M ball at the 9 o'clock site, and Larva knew that he can't hold off that 9 o'clock expansion with a small amount of army with the Sunken and a couple of units there. So he knew that he can just go for the backstab and rotate a couple of army to the other side of the location.
같은 경우는 뭐 당연하게 저그들 중에서 가장 잘하니까 좀 번외로 놓고 이제 그 다음 리스트들을 보는데 일장형이 되게 저저전이 안정감이 있고 뭐 모든 종족전 다 그렇지만.
So Larva is rating about the players who made it into semi-final. Queen is an excellent player. And Hero is also good at ZBZ. I forgot what he said about Mini, but he was complimenting that Hero has amazing ZBZ skills, so he thinks he really needs to prepare well for semifinal. Any last word for your fans? So there is a Larva's fan, Yundaki. He gave Larva some information.
정말 제가 어제 12시부터 낮 12시부터 거의 새벽 3, 4시까지
So he was talking about Soma, Royal, and some other players as well for helping Larva's practice. So he's happy that those players helped him well, and he said he will send some couple of balloons to them.
So that is going to be the end of our last series That's the round of 8. I misspoke a moment ago. It's going to be Larva versus Hero in the round of 4. For some reason, I thought Snow was going. I thought it was Snow still in the tournament, but he was eliminated. So it's going to be a ZVZ. And then in the top side of the bracket, we have Mini versus Queen. So it's going to be a PVZ, and we have potential for either a PVZ or ZVZ finals. You know, I was looking at the race distribution in the round of 24. You know, there were 11 Terrans in the round of 24. They had most of the players were Terran, and actually the least amount of players were Zerg. Yet, here we are in the round of 4, and there's 3 Zergs remaining and no Terrans.
Yeah, all those Terran players just fell and couldn't really keep up and make it into semifinal. So it is kind of sad that Flash is now gone. We don't have any textbook anymore.
You know, when I was watching all the backstabs, what instantly came to mind was, why doesn't Rush play something like Mech? Because then you can just sit there, and you don't have to worry about backstabs then. But then I remembered who he's playing against, Larva, who is a macro god in ZVT and ZVP. I don't think you would really want to be playing Mech versus him, so I am not surprised to see Rush ended up going for Bio every game. But it would be interesting to have Rush, or to have Flash here, to see what his response would be to just these constant backstabs. As I mentioned before, in Polaris Rhapsody, there was no vision for Rush. You know, when he re-watches those replays, he's gonna be like, yeah, you know, if I had a bit of vision, I could have responded a bit quicker. And that may have just been his one mistake, really, in his demise. But nicely done from Larva. He was really impressive today.
Yes, and I'm kind of like questioning myself why Rush did not send any of the buildings in the middle of the map to catch all those Larva's units here and there. Usually when he plays, he sends those factory and science facility to get the vision where his Larva's units being sent. Okay, looks like it's over.
Yeah, that is going to be the end of day 4. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back on Sunday with some more ASL action, so don't go, or I'll see you there.